following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
From Hollywood, The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. This is Ed McMahon, along with Doc Severinsen, and the NBC Orchestra, inviting you to join Johnny and his guests, Flip Wilson, Susan St. James, George Carlin, the mighty Carson Tonight players, and special guest, Anne Margaret. And now, here's Johnny.
Do you know that in some primitive cultures that means that we're engaged? You gotta hold it down, really. It's past 6 o'clock and it's beddy-by time in Burbank. I have no comment about that. Incidentally, we screened the audience before you came in. We put all the laughers down in front, and the rest of you are sitting up in our new false bottom balcony. We get some strange groups out here. Great audiences, but...
Yeah.
A little what would you say?
They're kind of, maybe 1 or 2 shingles are missing.
Yes, somewhere. Last night, about the first row, a raven-haired beauty. Remember? Wearing Naugahyde hot pants. No, Naugahyde hot pants. She had a T-shirt that said, "I'm Percy, fly me to Tarzana." That's weird. That's a nice outfit.
You dig this?
You're going to make a pit stop in the demolition derby. That's real nice. What is that supposed to represent?
Well, now you should be interested because this has to do with the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm going to be way out in that universe tonight, I thought I'd be
You're way out in that universe many times. We're going to have fun tonight. Lovely town. We love it out here. We're not in Hollywood. We're in Burbank. Television's different out here. It's wild. It's weird to turn in the newlywed game and see your neighborhood parish priest on it. No, you don't. And they sell anything in this. Have you been up on the Strip?
Yeah, of course.
What you can buy up there?
Right.
You can buy the strangest things up there.
That's true.
No, there was a guy who has a stand on Sunset Boulevard. He's selling artificial hickeys to senior citizens. Look what I got, Maud. You been to the new Hollywood church, St. Ralph's?
St. Ralph's.
Three sins for 49 cents? Weird. Ed, you look pretty good. You had a long night last night.
Yeah.
Ed did it again. 5 o'clock this morning, lying on Hollywood Boulevard. Big patrolman comes over. Ed looks up and says, he's looking down there to the star on Hollywood Boulevard. He looks up the cop and says, "You lost your badge." That went a long way around, didn't it, to get there? You know the circus is in town? Yeah, the circus is in town here. Okay. You got that new book, How to Be a Straight Man, from the audience. That works fine. I will. Thank you. They had a tragedy there today among the Human Cannonball Act. The splattering Strangeezies. That's right. Luigi grew despondent, and he shot himself in the head with his brother. It was a weird thing. Let's see. Los Angeles has a bus strike. Did you know that? The mechanics walked out. And to show you how important buses are in Los Angeles, the mechanics are the only ones who knew they walked out. Anything about Howard Hughes in the paper? That's kind of quieted down.
Quieted down.
You don't hear much about Hughes. He's still in Nicaragua, I understand. He is a mystery man, isn't he? The whole life he's been a mystery man. I understand when he was born. Notice how he sneaked into that?
Yeah.
You know, the doctor delivered him, the nurse held him up and turned around and says, "Is that really him?" Even then, he was a mystery man. Let's see.
Did you run into your friend?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Probably.
We'll be
tomorrow.
leaving town very shortly.
Well, I'm going to save it when I need it. Some night when things are going bad, I may need that joke. Is the president back, is he not?
Yeah.
Yes, lots to do, you know. He'd get back to Washington. He's got to brief Agnew on everything that happened in China. And Agnew has to brief Nixon on everything that happened on Days of Our Lives. So it's kind of Do you know Liz Taylor is 40? Did you see that today? Or no, yesterday, I guess, Life magazine? 40 years old? It's nice to know her age finally caught up with the rest of her. Beautiful. Beautiful girl. Tonight, we got a great show. This could possibly be the best show we've done since we've been out here. This is really going to be good tonight. We have, first of all, one of the hottest women in show business. The dressing room door was open. I looked in, saw her slipping into the gown. That Flip Wilson's a card. Yeah. No, Flip is here. His favorite expression is, what you seize is what you get. I wish that was Ann Margaret's. So we have Flip. Ann Margaret is with us, Susan St. James, George Carlin, and the mighty Carson Art Players are going to present their special version of Ironsides tonight.
And
What am I leaving out?
the lady's coming out in a minute.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes, one of our lovelies out here.
Yes.
So we will be right back in just, we're going away. Hello there. You are a stunning-looking young lady.
Thank you very much.
You really are. And your name, I only got the first name. Sandy?
It's Sandy Hurt.
Sandy Hurt.
Yes.
It's like... Come on now. Let me talk. She's a guest.
I know. I can see her.
You're from Sacramento.
Yes, I am.
Well, why do you spend your time up in Sacramento?
Well, I do publicity work and freelance modeling, and I've had a lot of good experiences in Sacramento.
No, come on. Let's try to keep this on a high tone for once. You live alone? No, somebody told me something else I didn't believe. You have a beauty salon up there?
Yes, I have 4 beauty salons, and that's what I do in my spare time.
And what else now? Somebody told me I didn't believe it. Are you putting me on?
No. Well, I teach a class of children at church every week.
You're a Sunday school teacher. I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Come on. You know what I'm praying for?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm in a silly mood tonight, but you're very lovely.
Thank
You really are. I didn't go to Sunday school often. I had old Mrs. Hildenbrand. And I said,
Want to read that aloud?
No, I don't think so. Please stay tuned. Thank you, Sandy, for being with us, and we hope to see you down here more often.
Well, I hope so, too.
Yes. We'll return in a moment after this message of interest. Thank you, darling. We are back. It's going to be a goodie tonight.
Good show,
I
yes.
sense it.
Gangbuster.
All righty. Anything particular to report?
No, just I'm working out here doing lots of things.
I saw you today. You were down the hall doing some lead-ins to a show.
Yes.
On to the film show, and you were doing the
It's an
lead-ins.
anthology film show beyond this summer replacing Flip Wilson's show.
And I came down to watch you.
And I was doing, I did 11 shows today, and you were down doing, I can't explain to the audience exactly what you were doing, but
I heard you were down there, and I
certainly
said, this
things,
I must see.
Yes. Certainly things you would not have done if you had been in her Sunday school class, or maybe you would have. I don't know.
But you...
But you were trying to distract me, and you were managing to do that.
Yes, but you go easy.
Of course I go easy when you're right by the camera doing
You were doing
things.
fine, you'd say. Tonight we have a taut drama. Emotions will run deep.
And
you see this young child stricken with near-fatal disease who's going... And it's all over.
And all of a sudden it's barracks time with you. You're
Yes.
doing barracks humor and killing me.
My first guest this evening is a young lady who is probably enjoying the most successful year in her life. In the past 2 weeks, she's been named Star of the Year by the theater owners. She's been picked as one of the most 10 exciting women in America by Harper's Bazaar. She won the Golden Globe Award given by the Foreign Press. She received an Academy Award nomination as the Best Supporting Actress for performance in Carnal Knowledge. That's quite a record.
Sure is.
And tonight could be the highlight of her week if she only listens to reason. Would you welcome Anne Margaret? I didn't see you before the show. They told me you looked gorgeous, and they're right.
Oh, thank you.
You
I
do?
had a lot of help. George Masters did me.
Really? You don't really normally need much makeup and stuff, do you?
Oh, you should see me in the morning.
Okay. I'm so easy, anything you say. Certainly, I'll be there about 7. You know, makeup on. You have had quite a year, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
It really is remarkable. Do you ever think all this would happen to you?
Oh, no. Not in a million years. I just think it's so incredible that, that I can actually have a chance at an Oscar.
Yeah, just to be nominated alone for an Academy Award is about as... Well, many people never get that in their lives. Even nominated, and just like that. But you finally got a real good picture, because I think you've talked about the history of your career. You've done a lot of different nutty things at different times, and they started putting you in kind of a bag and calling you the sex kitten. Didn't you do a thing called Kitten with a Whip?
Yes.
Something like that?
Yes. I've done 22 films, and not all of them, you know, can be fantastically fine pictures. But like 3 years ago, no one would even consider me for a serious acting job.
But you couldn't get a job as a serious actress?
No, not at all. All they offered me were B movies.
Yeah.
And so I went.
Did you do some of those B movies?
Well, before that, well, I refused to do them like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Before that, I didn't know anything about choosing scripts because I'm not a writer, and I did make several mistakes.
No.
And I did a string of bad movies. And then finally they just considered me a joke. And I finally went to Italy to do 2 or 3 films because they considered me an actress. But it's so much more fun. I love, you know, doing films over there, but it's so much more fun to be home.
To be accepted here for something you do. It was a great picture, and you were remarkable in it. You were just excellent in it. How did you get that part? Now, since you had done, as you say, some of the movies that hadn't been that successful, how did somebody say, hey, let's get Anne Margaret for the part?
Well, Mike Nichols met me, and when I heard that he wanted to see me, I was just flabbergasted. I had no idea that he would ever, you know, want to put me in a movie. But he sat and talked with me for a couple of hours, and then the next week he asked me to come back, and I did a test for him, and
That
he
was it?
liked it,
Well,
and he stuck his neck out.
He was right. Are you always this quiet?
Yes.
Huh? You have a quiet, what? What is it, Fred? The ball scores are coming in. Who's winning? No. No, Freddie says I have trouble. You always been a low-key voice? Because you shout in that movie pretty good.
Yes.
Huh? You do a lot of screaming and yelling
Yes.
and so forth.
But that's not when I'm being interviewed.
Really? You did a thing last night on the air. Or was on, I guess, last night, that Rona Beartrap did. I call her Rona Beartrap, affectionately.
Oh, dear.
Right? Rona...
She's very, very nice to me.
I know, I tease her all the time. But she did a show on sex symbols. And I think she asked you then if you looked at yourself, or if you like that type when somebody says sex symbol. And you said something about when you get up in the morning, you didn't like to look at yourself in a mirror. Now, am I quoting that about right?
Well, when somebody says that I'm sexy, I am very, very flattered. I think any woman would be, if she's honest with herself. Just, don't you enjoy being called sexy? Don't you enjoy when a woman calls you sexy?
Yeah. Kind of like
Really?
it. Do you think I'm sexy?
Yes, I do.
Really?
You have a very boyish sexiness.
I have a boyish sexiness. That's
You can
good.
get away with murder. Well, you can.
I
You
can
can say
get a couple of
things.
women who won't verify that. That was on me. See, that was putting me down. I'm just teasing. You had to gain weight for that picture, didn't you?
I gained about...
They wanted you a little softy.
Yes, I gained 15 pounds.
Gained 15 pounds?
It was a lot of fun gaining it, but I still haven't lost it all.
Now, how
And
do
it
you
was
go
a
about
year
it?
ago.
Really? What did you eat to gain it? What do you like?
Everything. Pizza,
Pizza?
malted milk, all sorts of ice cream and cake.
You have to give all that up for a while? Or
Yes.
try to?
Yes.
All right. You're delightful, really. Remember when we worked together once, first time we met?
Sure.
We did the inaugural gala for Lyndon Johnson in Washington that time. It was the first time I ever met you. Seems like quite a while ago, doesn't it?
Yes. When was it? About
See how quickly you forget? That's what Lyndon is saying now. Huh? They forgot. Well, the first inauguration was in first time he was inaugurated president was 1963, was it not?
64.
64, I'm sorry, 64. That was a long time ago. I do this first, then we'll come back. You can stay a while, can't you?
I think so.
You don't have to stay all night. I mean, just a little while.
Well, explain what you mean by all night. You mean till the end of the show.
Well, of course I meant that she doesn't have to stay until the end of the show. I didn't mean all night here, physically, in the building. Oh. But you can if you want to. I mean, it's nice here. We got nice carpets on the floor and refrigerators.
couch.
What? All of those things. My boys were asking me last night. We were talking about the movies, and somebody brought up about the casting couch, because I think Rona brought that up on her show. Was that a myth? In fact, you hear about, well, to get a part in a picture, you
Well, I
have
never
to
did
play
it
the...
that way. I
Yeah.
certainly never
I didn't mean you personally. The boys were asking me
No,
if
but
that
it's
did
true.
exist, and I said
Several
I really didn't know.
I think several women say that they had to do it when they really didn't have to.
In other words, make it sound like this
They would
is
do
what I...
it in
what?
any career. It doesn't only happen in show.
Whether they were a plumber's apprentice or in motion pictures. Want to thread the pipe, Harriet? So silly tonight. We'll return in a moment, right after this from Vicks.
Lavore.
We are back. If you just joined us, we're talking with Ann Margaret, and Flip Wilson is with us tonight, and George Carlin and Susan St. James. You mentioned something else on that show the other night. I think they were talking about a lot of the gals in movies who've been sex symbols, like Monroe, and I guess they went back as far as Harlow, even, I guess, Vita Berra originally. And you said something was kind of interesting. You said that you thought what you had, that maybe they didn't have, was a strong man. Is that right? That's interesting. You want
Very
to
strong.
mention that a little bit? Otherwise, if you didn't, if you were, say, by yourself, and if you were single, that maybe the success and all of the press, that you could kind of get, mixed up and go off a little bit on the deep end, that you need somebody to give you that support, right?
Well, what had happened to me a few years ago was that I had received a lot of publicity, and people were very nice to me. I got very good roles and all that. and a lot of awards. In fact, photoplay award.
Right.
On your show.
On the show, we did the photo.
And
right.
Then I was so frightened to talk to the press that they took it the wrong way. And they started saying bad things about me, and the more bad things that they would say, the more of a recluse I would become. And that was before I met Roger.
Mm-hmm.
And he has brought me out of my shell a lot.
You find that the press, sometimes when you're starting wants to help you, and then sometimes if you get a little bit reluctant to talk, they go the other way and they start giving it to you, and then all of a sudden if you get on top, everything seems to be fine again.
I know, it's very strange. Everyone loves a newcomer.
Right.
But then...
it's rooting for the underdog, and then as soon as the underdog makes it sometimes, is on top, it seems that they can't wait to kind of chip away and show that you have, you know, you're like anybody else. And have
But right now, they've been terrific this last couple of years.
Have you thought about going to the Oscars? I've asked people this before, when they've been nominated, about the... You're going, I assume, to the Oscars.
Oh, yes.
Some actors and actresses say they don't like to go.
Yes, I'm going.
You're going.
I'm thrilled.
Do you have an acceptance speech in your mind? If you get it. I don't want to psych you out. Is that bad luck to talk about
Oh,
it?
goodness, no. I'm, first of all, very superstitious. Like, for the Golden Globe Awards, I had nothing planned. And when I was going up the steps, I was wishing that I would have planned something. But I really do think it's bad luck.
Huh?
Whatever comes out, like at the Golden Globe Awards, I said that 11 years ago they had given me my very first award,
Right.
and now they were giving my very first acting award. And that's what I felt, and that's, I think, the only thing that came out.
If you win it, why don't you just get up and say, I deserve this. And there are no little people behind the scenes that have helped me. I did this, and I certainly deserve this, and good night. You'd be a smash. You'd be an absolute smash. They would hang you, but you'd be a smash.
You could say that very well.
Haven't you wished that somebody would do that just once?
I wish I had nerve like that.
Are you still riding motorcycles?
Oh, yes. I now have a Harley Davidson 1000 cc.
1,000 cc. That's a big motorcycle,
That's a
isn't it?
biggie.
Isn't that dangerous?
Yes, you can't treat it like a toy.
Yeah, have you ever taken a spill?
I respect the machine.
You ever taken a spill?
Yes, not on that one, on my Triumph 500 a couple of years ago. I ended up in the hospital.
Yeah. Now, you're still doing your act around, which gets great reviews, too.
That's my first love.
You're just doing nightclubs you like?
Singing, dancing, because you have the direct rapport with the audience.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you came to be with us tonight. This isn't
Pleasure.
painful for you, is it? I mean, this is easy, isn't it?
It's fun with you. It really is.
See, you're just like any ordinary guy. No, really, I wish you real good luck. You know, you've had a smashing success the last couple of years, and you've worked for it, too. So thanks for being with us. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye. You know, she's wearing flavored lipstick. You know, they make lipstick now in colors. Strawberry.
Wish I could find out the flavor, but if you'd kiss me here in front of everybody, you know. What flavor is it?
Strawberry, I think.
Strawberry?
Yeah, very good.
One of my favorites.
Good year. No. Even in jest, somebody would take it the wrong way. Especially you.
Something. It'd be something novel for the papers, though.
We'll return after this message of interest.
Travel arrangements provided by United Airlines, the airline that brings you not one 747 lounge, but two. In Hollywood, the Tonight Show staff stay at the new Sheraton Universal Hotel, one of the 200 exciting Sheratons throughout the world. Cars for Johnny Carson and the staff provided by Hertz, where you can rent a fine car in one of the Hertz special vacation plans.
Thank you, Doctor. This is the TV season when the networks have decided to hire a new kind of detective. Ironside is in a wheelchair, Longstreet is blind, Cannon is overweight. Now, since these series have been so successful, the networks have decided to carry this trend even further. We're now going to see a preview of a new series scheduled to come out next season. Join us now with the mighty Carson Art Players as we bring you a new detective series. A detective who outsuffers them, all of them before. What did I say? Whatever it was, he's coming out now. This man really suffers because he has 11 handicaps. We present now Iron Feet.
Yes, that's right. I don't know what to do. My husband's been murdered. No, I don't know who did it, but I've called in someone to solve the case. Oh, yes, I looked him up in the yellow pages. No, I don't know who he is. I just let my fingers do the walking. And when they caved in, his name was under them. He's got himself listed as the world's greatest detective.
Well, this is the last job I take in a fourth-floor walk-up. I'm sorry I'm late, but an old lady in a Honda cut me off at the Slauson Cutoff.
Well, who are you? Are you Iron Feet?
No, I'm Stewardess Cheryl. Fly me.
But I sent for the world's greatest detective.
Well, that's close. I'm the world's greatest defective. I'm Iron Feet, you see. As a child, I was known as Teflon Toes. Speaking of children, I see you're about 3 months due yourself.
I'm over here. Can't you see?
Are you kidding? Does a bull have wings? I'm blessed with 11 handicaps. I can't see. I'm hard of hearing. I can't keep my food down. My chest is wrong. I have beriberi. I have both knees on one leg. I have a triple hernia. Besides that, I can't beat the frizzies. Top of all that, I'm going through a change of life.
You? A change of life?
No, that's not a blinker. I'm having a hot flash is what it is. And I've also...
Oh, Iron Feet! Iron Feet!
I've also been in a semi-coma since 1956. Bad news.
You have all those diseases?
Yes, it's hard to believe I'm on health foods.
Well, I don't care about all that. You must help me solve this case. My husband died.
What?
My husband died.
How does she ride? Pretty good. You can get about 4 miles a gallon. She rides well. Really rides great. Welcome to the demolition derby.
But my husband...
Oh, yes. I think he's about a quart low.
But my husband was killed.
Are you kidding? He's in better shape than I am. I'd kill myself for a body like that. In fact, I did once in 1963.
Iron Feet, I really feel that you must do
What?
something.
Speak up.
I really
tell you I'm
feel-
hard of hearing. Let me read your lips.
What are you doing?
Well, that's no good either. I'm also hard of feeling.
Iron Feet, can't you help me? I need your support.
I need my support. Didn't I tell you about the hernia? Boy, do I need support. Lots of support.
I will reward you well if you will just tell me who the murderer is.
Well, that's easy. The butler did it. All right, don't move and keep your hands where they are.
But that's my grandfather's clock.
No man like that, he must be on health foods.
You really are hard of hearing, aren't you?
Yes.
You need a hearing aid.
I've got a better idea. I'll get my hearing aid. Oh, hearing aid.
Oh, you call that your hearing aid?
Hmm?
You call that your hearing aid?
No. This is my assistant, Lolita Berkowitz. She's a nurse's aide, and in her own way, she does wonders for my spirit. She helps me keep it up. I've been having low spirits lately, yes. You have my medicine for me.
Here, take 2 of these.
You know I can't swallow those without water.
Try it. You'll like it.
Yes. The things I go through. Sleeping pills make me sleepy. Pep pills make me peppy. And this horn makes me silly.
Iron Feet.
Yes.
It's time for your lunch.
Oh, great. I'm starved. Nurse, this food's very bland. You want to spice up my lunch a little bit? That does it. Good. Now tie my tubes. I am now ready. I'm now ready to summarize the case, and the style of all great detectives, I will pace back and forth as I talk. First of all, Henderson never went to the Mexican restaurant. Otherwise, his heartburn would have showed up on the weather report. Also, if Lady Hedberton were actually bald, there would be no shampoo in the toilet. It's also abundantly clear that the guilty person has never heard of World War I. Otherwise, why would the guilty person wear a Kaiser Wilhelm mask to church on Sunday? Did I also tell you that my mind is one of my handicaps?
I do hope you find out who the murderer is, because he called and said that I was going to be his next victim.
But you are the killer. How could you threaten yourself?
I plan on committing suicide.
Well, you can forget that. They're working on a cure for death. Hang in there, Harvey.
You've solved another case, Iron Feet. You're brilliant. That's why I love you. All that's left of you.
Well, why don't we go in the other room and discuss this further?
But I didn't know you could walk.
Yes, that's another one of my handicaps. I'm also incredibly lazy.
Iron Feet, what are you doing with her? You have all those handicaps.
Wrong. Some parts of me still work. Shall we leave?
Okay, we'll be right back after an important word from one of our sponsors.
We are back. Were you just taking a little stroll? You're up pacing back and forth.
I walk back and forth in the style of all true detectives.
My next guest works right down the hall. He's got one of the most successful television shows on the air. NBC, of course, here on Thursday nights. And we're delighted he could come out from doing his own show to come over and see us. Would you welcome, please, Flip Wilson.
Thank you.
Can't Beat that?
Well, this is like being back home for
That's
me.
what it's all about, though, isn't
That's
it?
right. That's right.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
I feel great, too.
Yeah.
Did Ed tell you he was on the show? The show will be aired this week?
Yeah. This Thursday night?
That's right.
Coming
night,
Thursday.
Hasn't even been aired. We've been getting letters already.
Mail is rolling in. He plays a pitchman, doesn't he?
That's right.
Yeah.
Ed shoots the grease to me.
And you were in the audience?
Yes.
Or one of the shows?
I get him.
Like it was a thing that came about from an improvisation that we did on the show a few years back when I was hosting it.
Right.
And when Ed agreed to be on the show, I said, let's do that thing because it went so beautiful. There's a natural chemistry between Ed and I.
Yeah?
And it went great.
Well, he used to be, he used to sell Morris metric slicers on the boardwalks in Atlantic
Yes.
City. That's right, Morris metric slicers.
Yes.
Give him a short...
Forget about the $2 they were made to sell for. We're cutting the price in half to $1. And we're including the juice-o-matic. Watch what I do with this tomato.
Get away from me, son, you bother me. And you are in the audience, and he takes
He's
you.
my...
Yes.
my-
Foil.
My foil. My mark.
Yes.
Yeah, you've had some great shows. You've
I
had some great funny
extremely
shows.
pleased.
Tell them
Great
who
funny.
else is aboard. We also have another heavyweight coming aboard.
Sammy Davis.
Sammy Davis Jr.'s on this.
That's right. Billy Tomlin.
Not bad.
Not
Not
bad.
So it's
Be a
show
good
is
show.
really a smoker.
Are you about wrapped up for the season now?
This week,
This is it?
I'm taping the last show I'll be taping. And we got a goodie. We have Bing Crosby back. We have Tim Conway and Melba Moore.
Uh-huh.
So
Any names on the show?
And the script is fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's like a racehorse.
And you're through for the season?
And yes, but I have another project in mind. I'm going to take another ride this year. I'm going to ride across the United States. I'm going to go down to Miami, up to New York, up to Canada, back across Canada, and back down to Los Angeles.
And you drive all that way, don't you?
Yes. And this year, last year, I did quite a bit of driving, and my project at the end of each day was to write 10 funny lines.
Yeah.
But there were so many fantastic moments that I wasn't able to catch that this year I want to drive less. I'm taking a photographer with me, and I'm taking quite a few cassette tapes, and I'm going to write a book about this summer.
Yeah, that's groovy. You dig driving?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's my release. It gets off my tension. I create in the mountains, in the desert, yeah.
Can I go with you?
I'm going to be loaded this
Because after you leave, I think we're in the building alone, right?
Well, you're going to be my new neighbor starting May 1st.
Yeah, we're going to bring the show out. California. On the base there. And we're going to go back to New York periodically, like we do out here. We just thought we'd try it out here for a while, just to give the
It
show
should
a
be
little...
great. It'll give me a chance to get with you, Doc, and the guys, because I love this show. The show is... I think this show contributed so much to the success of my show because it allowed me to, the opportunity to establish my rapport with the audience. And this show is my second home, my love.
Well, you started on the show, and the funny thing was you were bumped, I think, 2 or 3 times.
5 times.
He was booked on the show.
5
Now, I don't know
times.
what you mean when I say bumped. Something happened during the show. The
Yes.
show got long, and I said, gee, I'm sorry, there's a young man who's supposed to be with us tonight by the name of Flip Wilson, and he didn't get on.
5 times.
And it went on like 5 times.
Yes, but also, in addition to that, now someone might generally say, well, wow, they would have assumed that I would be neglected. But I was also mentioned that in so many instances, when I first started making television appearances, which were first on the show, there was a transition that had to take place from my ultra-hip type of comedy prior. And the writers and the guys, the talent consultants that I work with on the show, worked with me a lot, and they've devoted a lot of personal
you really
attention
had some
to
far-out
helping
kinda-
me develop the finesse to convey my ideas to the
Because you had
television
some
audience.
weird little things that would go out.
Yeah.
And you connected them.
Went
What's
to
this I hear about you being sued? Is this...
Yeah, I is the plaintiff.
You're the...
No, I'm the defendant.
Yeah.
You're the suee.
Yeah, yes,
Suey.
yes, that's right.
You're the suee.
I
know about
it's
that. I know
Ridiculous.
about that, yeah.
It's ridiculous. Now, I can't mention any names, because the thing is in litigation. But I'm being sued by Mr. and Mrs. That old black magic had me in this spell. Yeah, they whipping the black magic on me.
But what's the case, without going into details?
See, I was the lessee of a house for a year.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I had a nice little house, but the house was too big for me. The only one was there with me and my bulldog. Yeah. And the plaintiff alleges that the defendant
Yeah, you got to be very
acquired
careful.
unto his personal use 6 caviar plates.
Hmm.
I don't know what a caviar plate looks like. You know, I thought you ate caviar out of the can.
You didn't know.
You know, so, it's just ridiculous, but it's fun.
So you ripped off, or they say you ripped off with it?
Yeah, and they still haven't sent me back my doghouse.
Well, court actions are interesting.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm innocent.
We can't take sides.
I
We
don't
have
know
to
what
be.
a caviar plate looks like.
Well, what does he? You?
It's a
Just
small plate,
small
like
plate.
a little demi-tasse saucer.
I don't know. I eat it out of the jar.
Wow.
Everybody in my house who eats caviar eats it out of the jar.
So you moved
Good
out
out
of the
of it.
house and you're in another.
Yes, I'm in
Another
another
bad
house. Yeah. I'm getting ready to move, though.
Again?
No caviar plate.
No caviar. Okay, I'll set them up. You drop them in. You want 6? Wait, let me do this, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Crazy George is with us tonight.
Yes.
One of your favorite guests, one of our favorite guests,
That's
who is
right.
George Carlin, who is cooking real good comedy-wise nowadays.
Certainly.
And you two guys are going to do a little thing that you've done on your show. But we will do a word from a lady who cleans up after the best cooks in the world. What was the big article? I had a very good article on you. Was that
Time.
Time magazine?
Yes.
Cover.
That's kind of the culmination of a nice thing to have the cover on Time, isn't it?
And certainly was.
You try to be real cool. I know when they profiled me a few years ago on Time, and you try to be like, well, it's a cover, but secretly inside.
Well,
You say,
I
hey,
didn't,
that's not bad.
I wasn't uptight because I don't have anything I want to hide. I think that the story of how my success has come about has been a beautiful story,
Yeah.
and I think it's an American story, and I want people to know. So I've told my story, and I'm very pleased, and the American public has been fantastic to me.
All right.
Really?
Now, we were talking about Crazy George. And you two guys are going to work together. We can't do it in this half hour because it takes about 8, 9.
Yes.
Or we want to give you time to
Right.
do
Stretch
your
out.
thing, stretch out, and wait for the big laughs.
Yeah.
That's the reason we didn't have the time here. We left time for the laughs in the sketch. Normally it would have been at 12:30 by now, but just a little more time than we thought. We've got an album. I guess we're going to talk about this later.
Yes, George's new album, FM and AM.
Yeah. This is not the first thing he's recorded, I know, because he came out with an album.
No, this
earlier.
is the second album that he's had. This is 4 years later.
Yeah.
And it's on Little David Records, which is my label.
That sounds familiar.
That's right. That's my label. And it's a gas. And I think it's great because there's such a difficulty with comics in explaining the difference in your views to someone who can't really understand, who might be the executive of a record company. With George and I, George is different. He writes his own material, and I can understand his creativeness, and my manager, Monty K.
Yeah.
And this was an opportunity for George to feel freer as an artist, and for me to be a part of maybe in some way helping a guy that I admire.
Crazy. Let's get him out here. George Carlin.
Hey, ¿qué pasa?
How you doing tonight?
What do you say? Okay. Feeling good. Feeling all right.
Yeah. We're going to have to do the other piece with you and Flip around the corner,
Sure
as
enough,
they say,
okay.
because we didn't have enough time here.
Yeah.
I was listening to this the other day.
Great.
Crazy.
Good.
You did this down to this one you did down in Washington at the
cellar door? Right.
Got some crazy things in here.
It's, the nice thing is that, and the thing we were talking about having a little freedom to do what you want on it. 4 years ago, I did the only other album I did, and it was on RCA. And they're a lot more conservative, first of all, but also it was 4 years ago. And my birth control routine, they wouldn't allow it on an album.
And on this album, George has the baby.
Right.
We're progressing. We're progressing.
It's come so far that I was able to do the birth control thing on your television show last month, but not on an album 4 years ago.
That's incredible.
But,
You don't realize how fast
That's
it's
what
changed.
makes me happy about the album, is that it really is an honest, it's everything I have to tell right now. Or about 6 months ago.
One piece you have in here that kills me, and I guess there are lots of Sullivan stories. Everybody, all comedians like Sullivan, because first of all, he's a good audience, and everybody does him. But you do a bit in here. I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of it here, because as you say, it's not how well you do Sullivan. Every guy at a party does Sullivan, right?
Right. It's
Ed
Sullivan.
You say big shoe, and everybody says, "Oh, gee, that's wonderful." But
It's taking the place
different.
of the lampshade at parties for men. The Ed Sullivan impression. The idea being that everyone can do Ed Sullivan. Even agents and managers can do him now. And I'm sure that somewhere in the world there's a bear that can do
and a good one.
Yeah, just from being on the show and watching Ed from the wings. My idea is that it's easy to do a good Ed Sullivan by not worrying so much about the voice or the mannerisms. A lot of people waste time on the voice.
Well, they get this and they have to do all that. That means nothing.
That's the easiest part of it. The really hard part is to have crazy acts. The stranger the acts are you introduce, the better your Ed Sullivan will be, or seem anyway.
Now, Radio Law show, just after Connie Francis and her tribute to former Newark Mayor Hugh Adnesio. Just after the Waltzing Mice and the Maori Fire Eaters. And immediately following, or is that just after? During the entire female population of Guadalajara will run out on our stage and yell out their brassiere sizes. Now that I hear myself say them, there are even crazier things you can imagine than that. I mean, the ultimate Ed Sullivan act to me was something like the Bronze Age. And maybe in serious, I often wanted to see them just sand the stage there and just varnish it 1 week for a whole hour.
Right here, they're varnishing the stage.
They did everything else. Yeah.
He's crazy. So where are you working now? College? You like college days, the concert?
Yeah, that's where I tried to change my direction to, and I have been able to do it thanks to the exposure on both of your shows, by the way. The album's just coming out now, and that's going to help me too. But this past year, and trying to find those college and coffee house dates, being on Flip's show and yours has really helped, and that's all I do now.
That's great. Can we do a little commercial here, then we'll come back. You guys are going to do a little newscast or something tonight?
Yeah.
Bring us the latest things that's going on?
Yes.
All righty. Hold up my beer. We'll be right back after this word from Budweiser, the king of beers. are back now with Flip and George, and Susan St. James will join us. All right, what are you guys going to do?
Well, there's been such a fine response to our news, that segment that we've done on the show, that George and I worked out a little news segment we like to do.
You might call it the best of the news, which is impossible to think of even, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a little grim, isn't it? But
Give it a shot at it.
here are Flip and George and the best of the news.
Well, good evening. It's 8 o'clock in Los Angeles. It's 9 o'clock in Denver. It's 10 o'clock in Chicago. In Newark, it's 4:42. Time for the 11 o'clock report. Dan Wolf here.
Howard Mann here with the Wolfman Report. For a few items on the human interest side of the news, here's a great story from New York. Friends, New York does have a heart. 3 children today witnessed the miracle in Harlem. They saw the garbage collector. And we also would like to take a moment here to pay a salute to gutsy little Chuck Yabaronowitsky, the 98-pound quarterback who yesterday played his first game against the Green Bay Packers. In lieu of flowers, his family requests that donations be sent. Friends, there was another stick-up today at Mom's Barbecue Palace. The hold-up man made the customers strip naked and lie on the floor. The burglary wasn't reported for 3 days. Over to you, Dan.
Okay. Thank you, Howie. The San Diego freeway was the scene of a freak accident today as 3 freaks in a camper crashed into 6 freaks in a van. And the Nobel Prize in Mathematics has been won by a California professor who has discovered a new number. The number is Bleen, which he says belongs between 6 and 7. South Vietnamese President Thieu has announced today he is entering the Florida primary as a Republican. He feels that Vietnam should not be an issue. Claims he inherited it from President Johnson. On the medical front, researchers have discovered a new disease which has no symptoms. It is impossible to detect, and there's no known cure for it. Fortunately, it's confined to New Jersey. Take it away, Howie.
Okay, this is Howie here. We'd like to give you a few movie reviews of the past picture season, we suppose we'd say that.
Well, that'll be fine. That'll be just fine, Howie.
My vote for the best picture of 1971 goes to Carnal Knowledge, a movie that I personally rated G. In that movie, Anne Margaret certainly showed us a thing or two and proved once and for all she's not just a pretty face. We have another review here regarding the new movie Willard. The movie Willard is not doing well in ghetto theaters. Patrons say if they want to see rats, they can stay at home. And here's an item out of the Miami International Airport. A man was arrested today at Miami International Airport for trying to fly Betty. Betty's husband said he would prefer charges. Over to you, Dan.
Well, thank you. A group of California holy men has formed a new religion which teaches that when you die, your soul goes to a car wash in Bakersfield. Also on the parapsychological beat, it was discovered today that famed medium Edgar Casey was not really a medium after all. His family claims he was an extra large. And in Washington today, consumer advocate Ralph Nader announced that the glue on postage stamps causes air sickness in chickens. And famed television announcer Charlie the Tuna was found dead today of mercury poisoning. Sorry, Charlie. Good news from the Far East. No one was killed in Vietnam this week. However, 3 people died of old age at the Paris peace talks. Now back to you, Howie.
There's nothing, friends, like a story that touches the heart. And this evening we have for you just such a story. Mary Brown, the mother of 12 children, and Charles Johnson, the father of 14 children, were married today. It was the first marriage for each. Police today arrested George Whittington for stealing a new Cadillac from a downtown car lot. When apprehended, Whittington said the car didn't have a license, so he assumed it didn't belong to anyone. The judge assumed that Whittington wouldn't mind 90 days. And also we have another item. Yes, we do. It's somewhere on here. We're looking for it. Today, George Whittington, who keeps popping up in the news here, was awarded $50,000 for a severe case of athlete's foot. Mr. Whittington's head was completely bandaged, which is where the athlete kicked him. And we also have a late flash. A 101-year-old man, Count Gregor Labasi, was married today to a 19-year-old lady, Lolita Thompson. After the ceremony, he died when struck by a piece of rice. Now, friends, we'd like to turn you over to our hippy-dippy weatherman, Al Sleep.
Hey, baby, what's happening? ¿Qué pasa? Al Sleep here, hippy-dippy weatherman, brought to you by Parsons Pest Control. Do you have termites, water bugs, and roaches? Parsons will get rid of the termites and water bugs and help you smoke the roaches. Tonight's forecast, dark. Continued mostly dark tonight, turning to widely scattered light in the morning. So long, back to you, Howie.
And now, friends, it's time for the War Scoreboard, brought to you as a public service by men of goodwill everywhere.
The War Scoreboard is the only way to keep track of how you folks are treating one another. 8 civil wars.
6 outside aggressions.
6 internal upheavals.
10 counterinsurgencies.
21 acts of sabotage.
30 warlike acts.
906 hostile
10
incidents.
arms races.
18 deliberate provocations.
61 threats to national security.
9 dangerous escalations.
2 military confrontations.
62 heightenings of tension.
24 heated exchanges.
12 belligerent moves.
17 reprisals.
3 powder kegs.
And 2 tinderboxes.
And an ultimatum.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. We'll return after this message from one of our sponsors. It's a funny bit, guys. It really is.
Thank you.
Good, funny stuff in there. What was that one about the weather report continually? What?
Tonight's forecast dark.
Dark.
Continued dark tonight.
I like that.
It's important to remember.
Yes. This next gal is one of television's most popular young actresses. For several seasons, she was Peggy Maxwell on The Name of the Game, and currently she is starring as Rock Hudson's wife on Macmillan and Wife. This is her first time on The Tonight Show, for some reason. Would you welcome Susan St. James? Welcome. Thank you for coming.
I've been back there figuring out how to sit. Because it's really the wrong way to sit, any way that you can sit on television, you know.
Is that a problem with women?
Well, I'm having natural childbirth, so you're preparing your body every day, you know, for the big event, and so you're supposed to do special things, and this is completely wrong. But you're not supposed to work anyway. You're supposed to be home, you know.
Yeah. I never wanted to say anything when, you know, you see somebody that's just a little showing a little bit because maybe they're not pregnant, and then you would feel like a dummy. You know, saying, well, when's the child due? And you say,
no luck.
yes, then you're in
Well,
trouble.
you know, when I started doing the show, they had no intention with Rock of having any kids. He was in shock that he was going to be married, you know, on the series, because he doesn't play married men too much. And so then, well, he's always the bachelor, you know. Right. Now we got him married, and so everything was going along fine. They said, well, we'll be finished in December, and that'll be the end of the show. Goodbye, and you know, see you next year maybe. So my husband and I worked it all out and said, December, okay, well, we can work this out and have the baby in May, and then we'll start back in June, and it'll be born right in a hiatus, you know.
That's really programming.
It is very difficult.
That's programming.
You know, it's the closest you can get to a schedule, you know, is that. So we went to December, and they said, great, goodbye, and we all said goodbye and had a big party and everything. And then they called me in January, and they said, the ratings have been so great, we're going to do another show February or March, we don't know which, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, I wonder who's going to play the wife, you know, because I thought he was out of a job, you know. So I called him up, and they said, that's all right. And I got the script, and I had fell down the stairs in the beginning, and I was in bed through the whole show, you know, just lying there saying, I wish I could be out of bed helping you with the plot, you know. So finally they decided to write it in. So in this last show, which is on Wednesday night, I walk around pregnant, but they never say anything about it. You know, they just, maybe next year I'll have a baby, maybe I won't, you know. Nobody could decide.
Well, aren't the viewers going to wonder what... I know those are little oversights, but aren't the viewers going to wonder when you're pregnant in the show?
And they said, gee, she looks pregnant. I'm sitting like this, and Rock is looking a lot at my stomach, and we're acting like I'm pregnant, but they don't really talk about it.
The opening show next season, you can say, did you get over that touch of gas you had? That would, nobody would be the wiser.
Huh?
Why'd they only do one more year?
Because the way our show's set up, they have 3 of McLeod and 3 of Columbo, and then
you don't shoot
6 or so many.
Sorry.
So then they decided not to put a special in or something and do one more of us, you know. So it was kind of got in the way there.
You know, I mentioned you've never have been on the show before, which seemed rather remarkable because we've been doing this for a while. And
well,
why did we never?
My father used to sponsor your show.
Your father was one of the sponsors
the
on the
Chester
show?
Corporation. And then I came out here and started working, and I just couldn't get on the show, so he doesn't sponsor this show anymore.
Well, we probably sold everything out for him, and he's building more things.
No, that was a long time ago.
I didn't know that, really?
Yeah.
Did you want to be on the show?
It was funny because actually I wasn't working as an actress then. I was living in New York, and he used to always come and see all the shows where he had an ad on, you know, and he'd say, well, I hope this guest will talk a long time about the product, you know, and then he'd say, we got 6 minutes out of that, you know. So I saw it from a different point of view then, you know.
Well, I'm glad you're finally here anyway.
Thank you.
You know, somebody told me that and you don't wear much makeup, do you? You have an aversion to it? Is it, are you, what they call it? Hypoallergenic? It's not that, is it?
No, no. I just think that people have to start getting used to looking at each other like they really look, you know, and especially women's makeup is just hideous. You know, it's just, it alters everything. Men, you know, that work in shows need makeup for lights because it balances your skin and everything. But they don't do the things that women do that make them just look ridiculous. So I wear just as little as it will take to make me look like I look. Plus, I married my makeup man, and he gets off working that way. We have this philosophy.
Yeah, but doesn't that kind of, isn't that the wrong way to say it? If he's a makeup man and you're going around against makeup, does that make him particularly happy?
Well, actually, it takes a lot more skill to be a makeup man and make somebody look as though they're just looking natural. It's easy to just do a lot of makeup and make it look like a painting, you know. So he really does a good job. He has to work pretty hard.
No, but it's easy for you to say you don't need makeup because you're obviously naturally pretty to begin with. But what about the lady who's not as fortunate?
Well,
who
except
needs a few
you'd be
things.
surprised when I first started working. Of course, I was infatuated and wore a lot of makeup, you know.
Yeah.
And people still say to me, "Gee, you know, you look more like a movie star before. You know, you look, you know, are you going to go to makeup or are you?" And they, you know, they're used to seeing people that way, you know. So I think that you get used to what your idea of a pretty girl is. A lot of girls would look even better if they didn't wear any makeup.
I think that the attitude toward makeup has changed a lot. I myself like the plain, natural women. And I think a pregnant woman is beautiful.
Yeah, they always say
like
that.
Pregnant women. Yeah. Really? No, I mean, no, I think women look so... My mother was pregnant 24 times.
Excuse me?
That's right, 24.
24 times?
That's right. 18 living.
Good heavens.
That's right. And my mother was never sick a day in her life. And I admire pregnant women, and I think they're gas.
Yes, they are. And that's sort of out to be pregnant. You
It's
know?
out to be pregnant?
Well, because everybody's talking about
No.
overpopulation.
It's in to be pregnant.
But it's really beautiful.
She was talking about the overpopulation.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I think that the whole attitude and the younger view regarding this type of thing is changing.
Yeah.
And I think that it's right, and it's fine. And she's a beautiful, beautiful young lady.
And you're doing this, you say, natural?
Yeah, my husband will deliver it, you know, and it's fantastic. We go to classes and we're with people like, nobody there knows I'm an actor. Well, they will tonight if they happen to see the show, but they don't know that I'm an actress or anything. It wasn't the question, no. It's just a non-profit organization that teaches women how to have a prepared childbirth so that, you know, Tommy's mother, my husband's mother, had him naturally, but it was one of those, here it comes, there it went, you know. It just was a lot of pain and a lot of screaming, but now you can learn to have a child and have absolutely no medication in your body, you know, and just assist in it. And the films that we see are just, you know, you cry at the end and say, my God, how could somebody miss that? You know, it's something that was done at home.
That's remarkable.
And I'm hoping our second one will be born at home, but I have an Rh negative thing, so I have to go to the hospital for the first one. But
Where they have
yeah, we have the
things
shot that
nearby.
they give you, but I have a terrific, and we're vegetarian too. So we talk to people and they get, they just don't know how to deal with it. You know, breastfeeding, I guess that's okay to say on television. You'd be surprised, you say to people, I'm breastfeeding, they go,
Wasn't that silly? We did a whole thing on that with Dr. Rubin one night about, you know, that more women are doing that naturally because it's better for the baby and it's better for the mother. I don't know anybody should get uptight about
you know,
that.
you meet a lot of women on welfare. I meet a lot of women on welfare and people that I work with, and they get sterilizers at their first shower, you know, 12 bottles, and all the milk is there for free, just ready to immunize the baby and help the baby and be just terrific for the baby. And you can breastfeed a baby for 6 months before he needs anything.
Because they say the natural mother's milk has the antibodies in it that the child needs anyway.
That the mother has her vitamins, everything that she's got. And then they go out and buy this stuff you pour in a can and just fills the baby up, and he sleeps and he gets to be 40 pounds before he's 2 months, and everybody compares the weight of their babies, you know, which is just the reverse.
My sister used to work there at the hospital.
Yeah?
Yeah, breastfeeding baby. There were. Now, that sounds like a joke, but there were.
I know what you mean.
Well, the reaction wasn't based on the joke type thing. But there were many instances in the past when women would have other women breastfeed.
Yeah, where they didn't have the milk themselves.
Well, I belong to a group that does that, but it's not direct. It's hand. You do it with your hands, and you supply milk for premature babies and
Yes.
babies that need breast milk where the mother hasn't got it.
Now, the
It's
average
beautiful.
man, the thought of delivering a baby, I say average, I hate that word, but would throw him right into cardiac arrest. You know.
I
Well,
don't think I could make it.
All our in-laws say, oh, you know, he'll faint and they'll have 2 patients on their hands. You know, it's going to be a mess. You know, oh my gosh. But you learn as you go to class every week, and you see a bunch of people around you and say they're going to do it, you know, and it's going to be all right.
You got to figure you're probably better equipped by nature to do that than to fix a computer, and yet you can learn to fix a computer.
That's right.
So you ought to be able to deliver a child.
It's beautiful, and it's...
I don't know whether the analogy is
to learn.
quite that accurate, George. It's interesting, but...
You ought to be able to learn it, I mean. If you can learn certainly something unnatural, you could learn something very natural.
Oh, it's just fabulous. You meet people in the class that you know, look very square and shy at the beginning of the class about all of the different things that are explained. They don't know what, you know.
Yeah.
Same with me. I thought I knew all about it, but you learn all kinds of different things when you go there, you know,
I think
and
it's
say,
great.
wow. And these kids just blossom as human beings because they're having this, you know.
You mentioned you were a vegetarian. Can I ask you why? Obviously you believe in it, but I mean, why?
Well, we don't believe that man needs to consume another animal. We believe that you can get the proteins and the things you need for healthy bodies, not just eat, you know, canned vegetables and stuff, but through the other things that don't need to be killed. That's why we don't eat. So we don't eat fish or meat, but we eat eggs and milk and things that are supplied. You know.
There are different forms of that. I don't eat meat, red meat, because I just don't like it, and I found that by being off it, I feel a lot better, and it really got me better. It got me more into vegetables. Yet I'll eat fish. I don't worry about the killing part of it. But I also think it's stupid to grow grain and feed it to a cow and then eat the cow when you could just eat the grain, you know. That was one of the things I
Yeah, but isn't that like saying go out and eat the grass and don't drink the milk?
You mean
Yeah. Well, grass and milk, yeah, okay.
Similar
Smoke
process.
a little of the grass, eat a little of the
Yes,
grass.
whatever.
Milk.
I meant grass, real grass. I don't mean grass.
It seems like, from what I've read, and you can only go by things that you are, exposed to reading, it seems like we are really not equipped to use meat in the same way we are to use grain.
Right, I've got to interrupt here, and then we'll come back and follow this. We'll be right back after a word from one of our sponsors. You're a real nice guest. I'm glad you finally came on the show.
It's great.
Isn't it true that for a while, at least from the articles I read, that you were quite opposed to the institution of marriage, per se, and you're married now?
I really still am. You know, I don't do a lot of publicity, so I don't come on about things and give advice a lot. You know,
Yeah.
When you're a girl on television, they like you to. They like you to come out and, write little columns and things about. But I think that I've grown up, in my own way, and everybody has to grow up in their own way, But I don't think that marriage has serves a tremendous purpose. I think a lot of people grew up and their parents were trying to pretend they had a happy marriage in the living room, and then everybody knew from the time you were 4 that everybody was unhappy with the situation. You know it. You just do as a kid, and you grow up thinking, well, why do they tell me one thing and doing another thing, So I think I would be proud to say to my child, I didn't feel that I had to get married in order to have you, but I did get married. So
Why'd
I
you
don't feel...
change your mind?
Because my husband's parents are Italian. They're older, and my parents are English and Irish or whatever they are. But they also, I don't think, would have enjoyed. I know they wouldn't have enjoyed the.
Be such screaming and yelling.
Well, yeah, with the child coming, they wouldn't ever have enjoyed having a grandchild because it wouldn't have been they would have felt that it wasn't their grandchild. So we just thought, well, it wasn't really that much of a thing to get married because it's given them a tremendous amount of pleasure, But if your parents are cool and you don't have to get married, you don't have to get married.
Right. Oh, you said that. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. I thank you all. The album is George Carlin, FM and AM, on Little David Records. And I hope it's a smasher for you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for being with us tonight, Susan. And happy baby in May. Flip. Tomorrow night we have Rob Reiner, Pat Boone, Tony Randall, Joanne Worley, George Goebel, Paul Williams, Suzanne Plachette. On Thursday and Friday, John Wayne will be with us, Debbie Reynolds, Roy Clark. Good night.
This program was pre-recorded.
Chào các bạn đang xem kênh Xe Cũ Giá Tốt. Và hôm nay bên em lại về một chiếc Matiz sản xuất 2008, đời cuối rồi đấy, của Matiz rồi. Số sàn, bản SE, màu xanh. Chúng ta đi một vòng quanh xe để xem chiếc xe. Nói chung là 2008 chiếc xe nhìn rất là nhỏ gọn và rất là đẹp ấy nhỉ. Mua về cho đưa đón con đi học trên mưa trời nắng quá tốt. Đây tổng thể chiếc xe biển Hà Nội nhá, tư nhân, chính chủ. Đấy, nhìn này, lốp nhìn nó còn tương đối, nó không quá xấu nhưng mà nó cũng không đẹp tí nào. Đây lốp này, đèn nó đấy, đèn nó cũng nhìn trong sáng phết đấy. Đây lốp nhìn còn được, cả 4 bánh luôn, 4 bánh rất là được, và tay nắm cửa là mạ chrome. Những chiếc xe này thì chủ của nó thì cũng rất là giữ gìn. Cốp thì đây, cốp các bạn nhìn đường keo chỉ này, đó nhìn xem, con xe này đi rất là ít đấy nên là nhìn cốp rất là đẹp. Chúng ta sẽ Đi đến phần capo, tôi sẽ mở cho bạn xem về động cơ. Đây. Đây các bạn nhìn này, keo chỉ này, nó ốc keo chỉ, các bạn nhìn này, nguyên zin. Chung là nhìn bên máy con này thì không phải bàn rồi. Đây, xe đi rất ít thì máy mới được như này các bạn. Da máy rất là đẹp. Đi nhiều thì da máy nó xấu ngay, nhìn biết ngay. Các bác cứ đến kiểm tra và đi thử. Đây, máy móc, cột kèo, ốc, mọi thứ nói chung là rất là ổn các bác ạ. Mấy chục triệu mà có một con như này đi thì vừa tiết kiệm nhiên liệu mà vừa bền, có gì để hỏng đâu. Và chúng ta tiến vào phần bên trong. Đây, da ghế, đời này mà da ghế nhìn các bạn nhìn xem, không hề bong chóc gì, nó chỉ xuống cấp thôi. Đây, cần số nhìn rất là rõ, đẹp, không mattit. Đây, nhìn vô lăng này, rồi quá đẹp. So với đời này nó đẹp. Đây nhìn, chứ không phải là so với các dòng đời mới thì không nói. Ở đây nhìn này, đẹp không? Tablo tabi này, rất là đẹp. Con xe cá nhân chứ không phải xe chạy dịch vụ, nên là rất là đẹp. Đây, điều hòa mát lạnh nhá, màn hình cam nùi. Nói chung là con này điều hòa rất buốt luôn, nghe buốt giá lúc nửa đêm. Đây, cần số vô lăng rất là đẹp. Cam nùi. Đấy, cam nùi nét không? Quá nét. Đây, nói chung là đây trần đây. Úi giời, rất giữ gìn, mới rồi. Đây đèn trần rất là đẹp, mọi chi tiết này các bạn nhìn trần này. Thôi rồi, đúng là những cái mới này ít khi động tới là nó mới thế. Đây, hàng ghế sau rất là đẹp. Da ghế mà 2008 mà da ghế như này, còn như này, đi thì cũng không phải chạy dịch vụ, nhưng đi cũng khá nhiều rồi, mà chạy đẹp như này thì không phải nghĩ nữa rồi. Nhưng chiếc xe còn được. Và bên em đang giao bán chiếc xe này với giá là 33 triệu, bao rút hồ sơ và không mặc cả gì nữa nhá. Giá này giá quá đẹp rồi. Một con này thì cũng đã xước sơn rồi, va quẹt nhiều lần rồi, nhưng mà nó chỉ bị nhẹ thôi. Biển Hà Nội, nên là ai mua lên hẹn sớm với em. Có số điện thoại em để trên góc màn hình phải, góc trái màn hình. Và xin chào tất cả các bác, ai mua liên hệ sớm với em nhé.